Welcome to this predicted paper from onmaths. This paper represents the best guess for the upcoming exams. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. Onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. When collecting terms, you've got to make sure you're collecting like terms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this question out, but I'm going to use a different colour for all the things that are like terms. So we've got the 14x, we've got the 8x squared, we've got the 8x, and we've got the minus 5x squared. So the like terms are the x terms, so 14x plus, I should say 8x, plus 8x, and the x squared terms are like terms, so we've got 8x squared, take away 5x squared. So we can do 14x plus 8x, so 14 lots of x plus 8 lots of x is going to be 22 lots of x. And we can do 8x squared minus 5x squared, 8 lots of x squared, take away 5 lots of x squared is going to be 3 lots of x squared. Now typically in our answer we'll always put the x squareds first, so it becomes 3x squared plus 22x. To find the factors of 30, we're just going to write down all the factor pairs, or all the pairs of numbers that multiply together to make 30. So 1 times 30 is 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10. Now 4 doesn't go because 30 is not in the 4 times table. 5 times 6, and we notice that if we pick 6, it's just going to be 6 times 5, it's just going to be the opposite. So the factors are all the numbers that we've just written down, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. So we have an original amount, and this represents 100% of the original amount. The new price, new amount, represents 113% because it has said that it has gone up by 13%. So it has increased by 13%. And as a value, that increase is £1,287. So it's 13% of the original. It's gone up 13% of the original price. So what we're going to do is we're going to work out what 1% of the price increase is. Instead of 13%, we're going to work out what 1% is. And we're going to do that by dividing the amount by 13. And we get 99. So 1% represents £99. So 1% of the original represents £99. But the new amount is 113%. So we need to times the £99 by 113, which gives us £11,187. So the picture is now worth £11,187. So for a time series graph, it's just a line graph with time being on the x-axis, and so we've got the first one plotted for us, so we're going to plot the next one. So it's 2011, 14 high, 2012, 17 high, which will be here, and then 2013 is 7 high. And then what we do is we just join them up with straight lines. And that's us done. So we're asked to reflect this shape across line x equals 0. So we've got to first of all work out where the line x equals 0 is. The line x equals 0 is going to be the y-axis, because it's where anywhere along that line x coordinate is going to be 0. And so to find out where our new shape will be, you pick a point on our triangle and you count how many jumps to get to that line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we count another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, So one of our coordinates is going to be here. Do the same thing again and pick the one to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got a coordinate here, and finally we've got this coordinate here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you get good at it, you don't necessarily need to do all three. You might only need to do one, and you can figure out the rest of them from that. And let's just make sure this is nice and straight. And it says to label our triangle B. So we first of all need to work out what the sum of the interior angles on this polygon are. So sum of interior, and that's equal to n minus 2 times 180. And n's the amount of sides, so it's a 9-sided shape. So 9 take away 2 is 7, so we're going to do 7 times 180, which is 1260. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take away all of the angles which are in the polygon and find out what is left. And we're actually going to find this angle here, which I'm just going to call y. So y is equal to 1260. And then we're going to subtract 142 plus 117 plus 154 plus 133 plus 134 plus 156 plus 139. And then when we do that on a calculator, we get the answer of 153 degrees. And you can see here that y and x are on a straight line. And so to find x, we just need to take that 153 away from 180. And that gives us the answer of 27. To find the area of a circle, we use the formula area equals pi r squared, or pi times r squared. We're given that the fact that the radius is 12. So it'd be pi times 144. Type that into the calculator and you get 452.389 blah blah blah. And the question asks us to round it to 2 decimal places, so that would be 452.39. If I start by drawing a number line, and we're going to put the 110 in the middle. Now I'm going to label the next one down and the next one up. It says to the nearest 10. So the next one down would be 100 and the next one up would be 120. Now we're interested in the cutoff, and the cutoff point is between the two numbers. Okay, so that's the cutoff point. If it goes above that cutoff point, it would have rounded to the next number up. So if the number was here, it would round to 120. If the number is on the cutoff point, which we can see is going to be 115, then we know it would round up. So we need to find the biggest number in this part here. So this part here, and it includes this line actually, so it includes this line. So all the numbers that would have rounded to 110 would have been 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, which would be here. But if it was 115, it would have rounded to 120. So 114 is the biggest number it could have been before rounding to 120. And we know it didn't round to 120 because in the question it says it's 110 to the nearest 10. So our answer is 114. There's an awful lot going on in this question. Whenever there's an awful lot going on, it's always best to draw a diagram. So we're going to start off at Chiltern, which is a C. Then we go to Bolko, that's where we're going. And we go through Devley on the way. So we'll do D there. Distance from Chiltern to Devley is 34 miles. Distance from Devley to Bovlo is 16 miles. So I'm just reading through the question, adding it to my diagram. David leaves Chelton at 9 o'clock. He drives from Chelton to Devley an average speed of 68 miles per hour. And what speed does David travel between Devley and Bolko to arrive at 9:45? So the whole duration of this, the whole thing needs to be 45 minutes or 0.75 hours. And the entire distance is 34 plus 16, so that would be 50 miles. Okay, now having a look at this, we need to find out what time David was at Devley. So we're going to use our speed, distance, time triangle. So speed equals distance over time. And we're covering up the time, because that's the one we want. So it's going to be time equals distance, which is 34, over speed, which is 68. So we're going to do 34 divided by 68, which is 0.5. So it would be 0.5 hours. So that would be half an hour. So we will be at Devley at 9:30. So that means we've got 15 minutes left. Okay, so we've got 15 minutes to travel the 16 miles. So this time we're looking for the speed. Okay, so it will be speed equals the distance, which is 16 miles, over time, which is 15 minutes, but we need that in hours, so that would be 0.25 hours. And so what we can do here is times top1 by 4 to get rid of the fraction. So it becomes 64 over 1, or just 64 miles per hour. So our answer is 64 miles per hour. So for this frequency polygon, what we've got to do is work backwards to work out what the table was that created it. So we're going to just draw a starting of a table. And we're going to have our midpoint first, then our like money spent, our intervals, and then our frequency. So the first midpoint is at 40, and we can see here that that was, just get rid of that, that was between, like that was in this group here. So that is 0, and I'm just going to use M for money, 0 to 80, and the frequency is how high it is, which is 10. The next midpoint is here, so that was going to be 120. We can see that that's between 80 and 160, and the frequency is 20. And finally the last midpoint is here, which is obviously 200, and that is between 160 and 240, and the height of it is going to be 7. So we're looking for the probability customer spent less than 160. So that is these two here. Okay, so there are 30 that are less than 160. And how many are there altogether? Well, it's that 10 plus the 20 plus the 7. So it's going to be over 37. So it's 30 over 37. To rearrange this, I'm just going to write out the equation again. And I'm going to put my lines in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is try and make the x positive, because we're looking to make x the subject of the formula, which means we need it to be x equals. So what I'm going to do is just add x both sides. So we've got x plus m equals 10. Then we want to get rid of anything on the left hand side that's not this x. So we want to get rid of this plus m. So we're going to do that by subtracting m both sides. So we've got x equals 10 minus m. So our answer is 10 minus m. X equals 10 minus m. To find the exterior angle of any polygon, we do 360 divided by the amount of sides. These are decagons, which means they have 10 sides. So the exterior angles will be 36 degrees. And the exterior angle is just an angle that kind of continues on. You just continue on from the side. So this one here is the exterior angle of the left-hand decagon, and this one here is the exterior angle on the right-hand decagon. So altogether, the angle A will be 36 plus 36, which will be 72. So our answer will be 72 degrees. There's a very specific way to draw a perpendicular from a line. What you do is you get a pair of compasses and measure roughly 3/4 of the way between A and B, and draw an arc from point A, and we're going to draw an arc from point B. And you can see that the two arcs intersect here and here. So what we're going to do is just draw a straight line that join up where they intersect. Leave your workings out, your arcs, on the page when you do this to make sure you get full marks. The formula for the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h, with h being the height. So we've got pi times the radius 11 squared times the height, and that gives us 7,602.654 blah blah blah, and to two decimal places that is 7,602.65. So we're asked to solve this, and so what I'm going to do is just write it out a bit bigger and get my solving lines in. And we can see the first thing we're going to do is divide by 20 both sides to get x squared on its own. So I'll leave x squared on the left hand side and 16 on the right hand side. Then we're going to square root both sides, and yes, that will give us x equals 4, but it will also give us x equals minus 4, because minus 4 times minus 4 is also equal to 16. So our two solutions are 4 and minus 4. When something is cubed, you times it by itself 3 times, so we're going to do the same here. So we've got 5x to the power of minus 6 times 5x to the power of minus 6 times 5x to the power of 6. We're going to put the 5's together, so 5 times 5 times 5, and the x to the power of minus 6's together. Five times 5 times 5 is 125. Now when you times powers with the same base, which we have here because they're all x to the power of minus 6, you add the powers together. So minus 6 plus minus 6 plus minus 6, which is going to be minus 18. Something else we could have done is we could have done 5 to the power of the 3 here, 125, and then done minus 6 times the 3, which would have given us minus 18. So we need to first of all work out what the length of the side of the square is. And to do that, what we do is we get the 44v to the power of 4, w to the power of 5, and we just divide it by 4. And to do that, all we need to do is just divide the coefficient by 4. So it'd be 11v to the power of 4, w to the power of 5. Some people will try and do something with the v to the power of 4, w to the power of 5. But if you think about it, if I just draw out my square, if it's 11v to the power of 4, w to the power of 5 all the way around, when you add, you don't add the v to the power of 4, w to the power of 5. It's just going to be 11 lots, another 11 lot, another lot of 11, and another lot of 11. So it's 44 v to the power of 4, w to the power of 5 in total. And to work out what the area is, we obviously are going to square that. So we're going to do 11v to the power of 4, w to the power of 5, and we're going to just times it by itself, which is what squaring means. Okay, so we're going to times the 11s together, so that's going to be 121. going to times the v to the power of 4's together. And remember, with indices, if you times two powers of the same base, and they're both v, then we just add the powers together. So that'd be 8. And we're going to add the w to the power of 5's together, so that makes 10. So it's 121 v to the power of 8, w to the power of 10. So there are three parts that we need to find the area of. We're going to start with the easiest bit first, this circle at the bottom here. Okay, so the circle area is just going to be pi times r squared, and the radius is given to us at the top, which is 9, so it's just going to be pi times 9 squared, and that would be 254.469 blah blah blah. Well, we could leave it as 81 pi. Next bit is the curved bit of the cylinder, so we're going to do the cylinder next. And it's just the curved bit, and the formula for that is 2 pi r h. So 2 times pi times the radius, which is 9, times the height, which is 30. And that will give us 1696.460 blah blah blah. And the last bit is this hemisphere here. And so let's do the hemisphere. And the formula for the area of a hemisphere, well, a full sphere is 4 times pi times r squared, but because it's a hemisphere, it's half of that. And so it'd be half times 4 times pi times the 9 squared. And that will give us 508.938. And so the final thing is to work out the total area, so total surface area. And we're just going to add up all these numbers together. So we add up the 254.469, the 1696.460, blah, 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 and the 508.938, blah, 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 blah. And we get 2,459.867, blah, blah, blah. Do make sure you show the examiner that you're adding these three here. I've not done that because it wastes a bit of time for a video, but make sure you write it down. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so that will be 2,459.87 centimeters squared. Something we know about rectangles is opposite sides are equal, so these two will be equal. And these two will be equal. And you notice now that we've got simultaneous equations. So what I'm going to do is get the coefficient of the y the same. And I'm going to do that by multiplying everything in the second equation by 3. So we get 6x plus 9y equals 123. And I'm just going to write in the first equation underneath, because with simultaneous equations we work downwards. Now looking at the signs, they are the same, and the s in same is the s in subtract. So we're going to subtract going downwards. We're just going to subtract going downwards. So 6x take away 3x is 3x. 9y take away 9y is nothing, which is good. That's what we need. And then 123 take away 93 is 30. We're going to get our solving lines in, and we're just going to divide by 3 both sides. So we've got x equals 10. So we know what x is, but we need to find out what y is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick one of the equations. I can pick the 2x plus 3y equals 41, and just substitute the value of x in. So 2 times, instead of x, it's times 10, plus 3y equals 41. So it would be 20 plus 3y equals 41. Get my solving lines in. And we're going to take away 20 both sides. So we've got 3y equals 21. And then we're going to divide by 3 both sides if I don't run out of room. So y equals 7. So we've got x equals 10, y equals 7. Now I could check that with the first equation as well. So 3 times 10 is 30, 9 times 7 is 63, 30 plus 63 is 93. So we know we've got it right. There are two shapes we need to find the volume of. There's this cylinder here and this hemisphere here. So we might as well start with this cylinder. And the formula for the volume is pi times r squared times height. So it's the radius is 9, so 9 squared times the height, which is 30. And when we work that out, we get 7,634.070, blah, blah, blah. Next is the hemisphere. To find the volume of the hemisphere, well, the volume of a sphere is 4/3 times pi times r cubed. But because it's a hemisphere, we just times that by a half. So it's half times 4/3 times pi times r, which is the radius, which is 9 cubed. And that gives us 1,526.814, blah, blah, blah. And so the total volume is 7,634.070, blah, 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 plus the 1,526.814, blah, 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 which equals 9,160.884, blah, blah, blah. It says it wants it 2 decimal places, so when we round that we get 9,160.88. Okay, so we're going to start off by working out the multiplier, and we're told, we always start off with 100%, we're told that the compound interest rate is 1.6%, so we're going to add 1.6% to the 100%, and it's going to be 101.6%. Okay, make that into a decimal by dividing it by 100, so we're just going to divide that by 100, and this will give us the decimal or the multiplier. So the multiplier is 1.016, and so anytime we want to increase something by 1.6%, we just times it by 1.016. Now, we're told that we start off with 2,400, that's our original amount, and to find out what it's going to be in the savings account at the end of the first year, we just times it by the multiplier, 1.016. But we're told that it's for 7 years that it's going to be in there. So we then times it by 1.016 times, or easier way of doing it is 1.016 to the power of 7. When we do that, we get 2,682.052, blah, blah, blah. And because it's money, we round to the nearest pence, so 2,682.05. So the question asks us to go from A to C. So we're starting at A, going to C. Now it would be nice if we can go straight there. We don't know the name of that road. So we're going to have to go down this road first, and then up this road. So the first road is road A, so we're going to go down A. And then the second road is road B, so plus B. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.